Imagine being so malleable in your mental and vibrational mastery that you could just woomph into any dimension that Christ calls you into without resistance, without clinging to everything that you've worked for in this dimension, just purely free to go. That mastery we shall call adventuring. It is the seventh mastery in the Sovereign Way, and it explores the metaphysics of true freedom. Here's the book, The Sovereign Way. You can go and get it on Amazon. And remember, the 6 previous masteries on your Sovereign Way have brought you up into a level of genius, which is a presence of consciousness that means that you can understand and process any reality that you find yourself in. And that gives you the vibrational authority, the personal alchemy, to literally improve every cubic ounce of energy all around you. In other words, to sanctify any vibration so that you no longer need your environment, everything around you, to be so pure and high vibe all the time in order for you to maintain your sovereignty as an awareness. Now, there's nowhere that you can go from his spirit. So that means that God is able to call you into any mission at all and know that you will go. So that means that you would be available to love everywhere. And that means that a greater world plan comes available to you. But it does require outrageous courage and surrendered faith. And it requires the obedience to act immediately when your heart knows it must. And we shall call this mastery in the Sovereign Way adventuring. Here it is again. Now, the chapter in this book on adventuring goes really deep into the metaphysics of true freedom and how this relates to manifestation and your mission in Christ, including how to take a step when you first arrive in a new dimension, how to convert mana and ensure that provision is always flowing to you, whatever situation that you're in. So go and get it on Amazon using the link in this profile. Go and buy The Sovereign Way. It's brilliant. Because, like, how quickly can you sidestep a reality? Let's say, for example, that you've planned a nice quiet evening writing your book. And you've visualized the evening, you've arranged your workspace, you've lit the little candle, you've poured the tea, you've chosen the music, and you're about to settle in and just let the artistic juices flow. And then suddenly God tells you, by way of demonstration, that it's time for you to go and plunge the toilet and repair the U-bend and clean up this mess instead. You know exactly what you must do. And it's not what you planned, but you will do it. But here's the thing. Will you jeter like a graceful ballerina, or will you stomp like a petulant child with your lip sticking out? Perhaps, for example, you must suddenly leave the clean and free life that you've been creating in the high mountains and move into a moldy old bedroom in a brick house in a damp inner city on the other side of the world. Guess how I know about that one? Or perhaps you must discontinue a timeline of being an impoverished artist and begin instead to activate a season of great influence and overflow. But there's a whole community together sharing the story of the impoverished artist identity, and it would seem such a betrayal. Or perhaps you must stop integrating crystal grids at key dimensional portals around the globe and instead start serving at soup kitchens. Or perhaps you must leave an abusive relationship and all of the stability that came with it, and instead choose a free life with all of the uncertainty that comes with it. Or perhaps after a long season of hard and thankless work for some invisible goal, you must rest for a year in the valleys, being nourished by the elements. And you have sovereign command of both your mental and vibrational worlds, which means that you can cheerfully change directions. And you are always somehow provided for and always safe as you mission your way across realms of consciousness, serving the Lord wherever you go. Things change, timelines change, regimes change. His steadfast love for you never changes. You're always helped when you enter a new dimension by real helpers, not just by some esoteric idea of groups of guides or fields of angels, but actual real people with arms for hugging and for lifting, and with bellies for food and for laughter. Because you've chosen to follow the spirit of life, which means that you've become part of an integrated group of sovereign souls who are alive on this planet. Maybe some people call us ecclesia. We are a family in thought and in vibration, functioning together in an invisible but powerful formation, bonded by an inner spiritual knowing. And wherever you go, there you are, recognizing and helping each other on the way. I have lived through many terrible disasters, and people have always been there to help. It's easy, because synchronistic design brings us into collaboration. Maybe you feel like the thing you've been trying to manifest isn't occurring anymore, and you're wondering, does the law of attraction even work? And the truth is that what you're attracting is greater than your own mental designs. And it's the synchronistic design that brings us light workers into collaboration with each other. We see the glint in each other's eyes, and perhaps we discover that we've been working on different parts of the same project. And then we join forces, and the thought forms that we are building connect perfectly and are amplified then. And we exponentially elevate the manifestations of the kingdom, including the fruit. We bring miracles and growth into each other's lives for reasons, for seasons, and sometimes forever. You are never alone as you adventure. And whatever the thing is that you're creating in your sovereign way, someone else is bringing the missing piece. That's how we connect, and that's what makes us so strong. Perhaps we could say that we outgrow the law of attraction, which isn't really true. You can't outgrow a universal law, but we outgrow it as a mechanism or as a system that we rely on in order to manifest a true and sovereign life. And that's a good thing that we're always in the presence of help, because there is this stage in your spiritual development, in your enlightenment, where in your own sovereign way, you must learn to truly live in the world, but not of it. You must recognize the cultural and natural systems of the world just as easily as you recognize grace. And so it's like life begins to train you for course correction and the ever-present ability to recalibrate your compass to love, no matter what's going on around you. And this is when you begin an advanced mastery of outrageous faith that leads you way beyond the reasonable and deep into wonderland. Did you ever feel like everything that you thought you knew was falling apart and falling away? Have you ever been dematerialized, where you lose literally everything? Have you ever, in the middle of a perfectly peaceful and stable season, been picked up and placed into the belly of chaos? Have you? If so, type it in. Type, I know chaos. If you've been there. When life, the sovereign way, begins training you in the mastery of adventuring, you will be brought into uncharted territories. And that will reveal entire dimensions of life that you've never experienced. And it will quantum leap your growth and your spiritual authority beyond measure. Who knows what the future will bring? An adventurer is prepared for what nobody is prepared for. And granted, it is a scary phase learning this mastery. And during this phase of spiritual development, you lose your ability to control, to predict, and to manipulate. You lose that super fun mastery of manifesting the perfect car parking spot, So much for the law of attraction, eh? Throw that one out the window. So in order for you to truly trust God's infinite provision on your sovereign way, you are going to have to abandon every system that once upheld you. And then the impossible becomes real. Sudden new opportunities and unexpected trajectories open up. And then the probable becomes impossible because all of your old success strategies fall apart and you have no choice but to change direction. You ever felt like that? You no longer feel like a master manifester? Your genius alchemy is utterly surrendered to whatever may be. And you have to gain a new relationship with God, not just as the holy I am, but now also as my Lord. As you surrender entirely to move in synchrony with his design. Pride doesn't like it at all. But can you imagine how valuable this particular faith muscle is in a world so disintegrated? We are the bridge builders, you see. Every time we sidestep a reality or a timeline, every time we change direction, as his apostles, as representatives of unconditional love, we bring his presence wherever we go. His word is like the needle, and his mercy is like the thread, and it's like we're stitching together and mending a world that's been torn apart. Can you love wherever you go? Can you unify? Can you baptize? Remember, the Great Commission that Jesus sent us out for is not about demonstrating the great masteries of God. It's about bringing people home to love. Only an adventurer has the mastery to cross thresholds of cultures, to lean through the walls of theologies, to put your heart and hands to different vocations and still know that his will is being done. It takes so much courage. You are brave. Because let's say that you've already chosen to follow him. Now, despite the unreasonable amount of courage that's required, your own personal confidence and willpower doesn't need much artificial development because they're already always rooted in your faith anyway. So in other words, Christ is now your source of supernatural courage. And that's what it takes to cross the thresholds of resistance, because expansion is always bigger than our egos, which means our egos can never take us there. We can't fake it till we make it. We will never make it if we fake it. We need true courage. True courage is the momentum that keeps you moving steadfastly forward into your life's becoming, even when the next step is frightening and you don't have all the answers. Remember, you left the patterns of your identity. You gave up controlling other people's opinions of yourself. You are not too attached to the reality that you've been creating so far, and you are ready now to follow Christ one step in front of the other along the sovereign way that he brings you. This means that you've unleashed a momentum of life force. Imagine a deep crystal tone in a sea of vibration was woofed through you, released from the heart of every cell out into the body of love, sanctifying the way before you. Your life is going to expand, and the tectonic plates of your reality will shift, and things in your life and in our shared world will crumble and fall away, and you may grieve their passing. But you won't confuse structure for essence. You will never lose yourself. No matter how life manifests, the power that moves you along and keeps you going is always with you. That's true courage, like a lion. Remember that time when you were on rock bottom? Remember how small and helpless you were? paralyzed beneath the crushing weight of life, all the way down there where nobody could hear you, and the walls closed in on you and you were cold and empty. Remember. And then somewhere, maybe from the inside or maybe from the outside, somewhere from a tiny microcosmic flash, a quantum ignition occurred like a spark, a word whispered into the cells. And somehow a gentle pulse of vitality raised your head. A subtle breath filled every muscle with the strength to uncurl your spine and engage your core. And a flow of electricity ignited your meridians, an almost imperceptible lightning bolt of love. And then you took one baby step, and then the rest occurred, and now here you are. That resurrection power that moves our galaxies, that is your true courage as an adventurer. And now that you're entering this phase, or you're already deeply into this training phase where things change really quickly, this is the power that ensures your safe passage. It is the same power that you need to transcend the highest reality that you've ever accomplished. And it's the same power that you need to accept a mission of love in the deepest blue. I already always am your courage, he says. I am the Lion of Judah, he says. Follow me. Step out onto the water. You can walk upon the surface. Thank you very much for watching. We will now go into our group discussion in the Oasis and talk more about the metaphysics of true freedom. Don't forget to buy the book on Amazon. It's called The Sovereign Way, and my name is Elizabeth. And if you would like to join our group, if you're not already in the Oasis, place a heart emoji in this wherever you see this video, and we will come and find you and bring you in. All right, let's go to the Oasis.